Hey everyone, we've reached that time. It's the final four semifinals here for year two of the League of Champs, and we got two really great semifinals. I gotta say that I think that the four best teams this year are definitely in the final four, and it should be really exciting. So let's just get right into it here. The first semifinal is going to feature Krista and Storm from the North Division taking on Ryan and Deuce Bombers from the West Division. Um, Ryan and Deuce Bombers, they only lost once this year. Who did they lose to? Storm. And that happened in week four. So it should be interesting to kind of see how Deuce Bombers can respond from losing to Krista and Storm earlier in the year. I kind of looked at the matchup, and I think there's a few things to watch. You'll notice here I'm wearing a Seahawks jersey, and I mean, how can you not pay homage to the two Seahawks fans that are in the semifinals for this year? But things to watch for in this matchup, what I noticed was, for Storm, does RW3 Russell Wilson continue his terror that he's been on these last few weeks? He will play St. Louis. I know St. Louis has a decent defense, but Seattle is at home, and it is their last home game of the year. But on the flip side, Deuce Bombers has Blake Bortles, which you might say to yourself, well, Blake Bortles has over 30 touchdowns this year, and he has a matchup of playing the New Orleans defense, which is by far probably the worst in the league. And I got to say this, I still think Jacksonville wins the South Division for real, the AFC South in the NFL. I think they win this week. Texans lose to the Titans, and it'll set up a game next week where it's Jaguars Titans for the division. That's just my prediction. We'll see what happens. For Storm, there's some injury concerns going on. Sean Drone looks like he might be down. He was good for a couple of weeks there for Storm. TJ Yeldon still uncertain if he's coming back. Same with Julian Edelman, VJax. So for Storm, it can be a little bit scary knowing that Benny Cunningham is one of your main running backs. But at wide receiver though, there's no doubt about it. Storms hit some gold mines. Dougie Baldwin. I mean, all of a sudden this guy's come out of nowhere. He's an all-star. Allen Robinson's been unreal. So I mean, on the flip side, even though Bombers has Bortles, if he's throwing a touchdown, most likely maybe to Allen Robinson means points for Storm. And obviously Devontae Freeman's been unbelievable for Krista. And on the defensive side of the ball, you got to think the MVP for Storm's team's been Marcus Peters. I mean, what a rookie he's been for the Chiefs, and definitely has helped that Chiefs team get into the playoffs this year, or playoff contention anyway. For Deuce Bombers, same thing, injury concern. The big injury concern this past week, Shady McCoy going down. That's obviously hurts. It hurts because all of a sudden you look at who's the starting running backs. Well, James White. I mean, Steven Jackson signed for New England, so is James White really just a passing down running back? For the most part, he is. Alfred Morris, even though he's been stealing some carries back from Matt Jones, still, it's like, is he really going to put up big points? Latavius Murray. But the big thing for Deuce Bombers is maybe the missing piece to his team all along was getting Gary Barnidge from me near the deadline. We talk about rental players. He might be the perfect rental player for Deuce Bombers. And then obviously a defense led by guys like Luke Kuechly. So in this one, I think it's going to be a close one. And I know I bet against Storm last week. I am going to bet against Storm again this week. I think Deuce Bombers finds a way. And I'm telling you what, if Deuce Bombers doesn't find a way this week, I'm betting on Storm in the final. But either way, I think this is going to be one hell of a semifinal, and exciting for all participants in the League of Champs to follow. Our next semifinal will feature Justin and Falcon Power out of the South Division taking on Brian and the 12th Man out of the West Division. As I predicted earlier in my early season predictions, I said the West and the North were going to be the toughest, were the best divisions. Obviously, two from the West and one from the North. The only one not out of those two divisions, obviously, is Justin from the South. These two teams played just recently, week 13. Falcon Power was victorious over the 12th man, so this is a rematch of sorts, but obviously with much more on the line, a berth in the finals. The big questions that I see out of this is for Justin and Falcon Power, can Superman Cam Newton deliver again? I mean, are you kidding me? Like 55 or something fantasy points last week? I mean, the guy's a one-man machine. And obviously, Carolina, they want that perfect season. Next up, it's Atlanta. We'll see if they can get the W. For Falcon Power, also you got to look at can Dez Bryant actually do something? I mean, this guy hasn't done much for Falcon Power this year. He's supposed to be an all-star. He's really not lived up to expectations. Thank God Brandon Marshall's picked up the slack for Falcon Power. The next question is, where's the depth going to be on the offensive side of the ball? I just noticed Robert Woods has been sent to IR for Justin Falcon Power. I know he's kind of like a depth player, but that's the thing. Who's the next man up for Justin Falcon Power? That's something he's going to have to look at. And on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, the defensive gems for Justin Falcon Power has been Muhammad Wilkerson, obviously in a contract year, and Rashad Jones. I mean, this guy out of Miami, this guy's a tackling machine and somebody that's been reliable for Falcon Power this year for sure. For the 12th man and Brian, the questions have to be: is that running game solid? I mean, Marshawn Lynch, Thomas Rawls, obviously being a Seahawks fan, they're both out. So it's like, okay, who steps in for the 12th man though? Well, you got Jeremy Hill. I mean, obviously with AJ McCarron, they're going to run the ball more. But you look at the matchup this week; they play Denver, so that's going to be tough. Denard Robinson, is Yeldon coming back? We don't know. Is Robinson going to deliver? I mean, Bilal Powell's been on this decent scoring streak for the 12th man, but it's because he's been getting touchdowns. Does he get a touchdown this week against New England? So that's going to be interesting to watch. On the wide receiver side, obviously, I still believe the 12th man has the best group of receivers in the league. But again, look at the matchups. AJ Green versus Denver's defense. Julio Jones taking on Carolina and Josh Norman. Larry Fitzgerald probably has a better matchup against Green Bay, but those are his two top receivers that are playing obviously two of the toughest defenses in the league. I think one position that's going to be successful for the 12th man this week is probably going to be that Vikings defense, especially if Odell Beckham is suspended for the one game. I know he's trying to appeal, but I think the Vikings are going to clinch a playoff berth on Sunday Night Football and eliminate the New York Giants from playoff contention. Um, I always find in the NFL you see these teams when a new arena is going up or whatever, or a new stadium, I should say. Obviously, the Vikings get a new stadium next year. All of a sudden, the team's performing well, and obviously we see that with the Vikings. So it should be interesting anyway. In this matchup, though, I have to give the edge to Falcon Power. I just think that the 12th man has tough matchups for his players. Like I say, his all-stars, Julio Jones and AJ Green, tough matchups. And I just think Falcon Power is going to find a way, and I think Superman is going to continue to deliver not only an MVP season in real life, but an MVP season in fantasy. Should be a beauty, folks. I just want to say Merry Christmas to everyone out there. The best to all you and your families, and let's keep watching football. The playoffs are just around the corner. We got to enjoy this while we can, as football season's almost over. Good luck to all the four teams in the finals.